Hi, my name is Jennifer Schlipp, and I'm a professional life and wellness coach. I'm also a certified personal trainer. I wanted to talk today about restaurants done right. This is a way for us to incorporate eating out and still keeping our focus on eating healthy. It can be hard to do. The restaurants use a lot of products that sometimes are not the healthiest, and they cook them in a lot of ways that aren't great for the majority of us. A lot of restaurants, because of taste, tend to use a little too much salt, a little too much butter, and are very liberal with frying things that don't need to be fried. The other thing is our restaurant portions in this country are typically too big for a healthy portion size. But the food tastes so good, we find ourselves eating more of it than we probably want to admit. So, let's put some strategies in place so that you can eat out at restaurants, you can eat healthy, and you can eat in a way that keeps your waistline trim and all of your good health in focus. So some of the tips I'm going to give you are pretty easy to implement, and they can be implemented immediately starting today. Then I'd like to finish with a few tips on specific types of restaurants, things that you can do at those restaurants, perhaps a Mexican restaurant, that lets you stay on the healthier side and away from the high calorie, high fat side, which affect our cholesterol. It can increase our blood pressure. It can make us more prone to diabetes. And a long-standing history of bad eating and poor exercise does increase your risk for all types of cancer. So we want to avoid this in our life by our everyday efforts. So let's start with some of the tips that you can use at your next restaurant starting today. First, ask questions with the waiters and waitresses. Just because something is put down on a menu to be cooked a certain way doesn't mean that it has to be. You can always opt for something to be grilled or broiled. You don't have to get something deep fried. You can also ask for the sides to be a bit more healthy. If it says that it comes with a loaded baked potato, simply ask them to keep the sides optional or put them on the side, and you'll create your baked potato for yourself. That way you're controlling the amount of additives that go onto that baked potato. You can also opt to switch out for something. If it has French fries and you would prefer rice, most restaurants are very accommodating. You can also improve the side quality of the vegetable. If it automatically comes with corn or green beans and you would like something a little bit more hearty and a little bit more fibrous, you could ask for broccoli or something of that nature, or a substitute side salad. So those are things that you can do fairly easily. You can also ask the waiters and waitresses to tell the staff or the kitchen staff and the chef not to salt your food, and that you'll put the salt on yourself. This is something that some chefs, depending on where you go, might take offense to it, but most are very accommodating and are happy to meet the needs of their guests. Because more importantly than how they want the food to taste, they want you to enjoy the way the food tastes, and they're okay with you seasoning it to your liking. Okay. Some of the other tips I can give you is to look at the portion size. Again, our portions at most restaurants tend to be too big. And sometimes the parts that are big and the parts that are small are out of balance. For instance, you might get a lot of starch on your plate. You might get enough side potato or side French fries to feed 3 people, but you get a very little amount of vegetables. Again, if you express this to the waiter ahead of time, they may be willing to make a note of that for you. Or, as soon as you get your food, ask them for a box and take some home for a later meal. Perhaps it could be lunch the next day or dinner the next day. Burgers can be cut in half. Meat portions, if they're too large, can just eat one half and take the other half home with you. The other thing you can do is, if you're dining with a spouse or a friend, you could offer to share the main dish, which is where the bulk of the calories are typically held, and then get your own salads so you're eating more vegetables and less of the other food. You're still enjoying the meal, you're still enjoying it, but in a moderate amount so that you're not taking in that excessive calories and probably those additives that it was cooked with. At the salad bar, sometimes people think, I'm at a salad bar, it has to be healthy. But there could be some pitfalls to the salad bar as well. One thing that you want to avoid putting too much on your salad is cheese. Cheese is loaded with fat and primarily saturated fat. It also provides very little side nutritional value versus almonds, shaved almonds, sunflower seeds, which also have a high amount of fat, but provide you with a very healthy monosaturated fat, which is better for you and broken down easier. So when you're going through the salad bar, you want to get a lot of lettuce and a lot of vegetables, hearty vegetables. Try to steer away from the heavy salad dressings, the bacon bits, the cheese. And one thing to be aware of is a lot of salad bars are putting more fruit on the options. Or when they're making their specialty salads, they're adding a lot of fruit and dried fruit to the salad combination. While none of these things are bad for you, they do increase the sugar and carbohydrate count of the overall salad. So for anybody who is pre-diabetic or diabetic and watching their sugar counts and counting their carbs, those dried fruits and added vegetables onto the salad can greatly increase that number. And again, anything that you're taking in, if you're eating too many calories of any kind, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're not using it for activity or to keep yourself alive, then that excess of calories will be stored as extra weight and typically extra fat weight. So even if it's good stuff, too much of it could be too much for one meal and too many calories in one day. And as I said earlier, always put the dressing on the side so that you can add it as you go. If you put all of the dressing on top of the salad and you eat from the top down, then you're going to eat all the salad dressing with the top part of your salad, and then the bottom part will be dry. Just put a little bit of your dressing, eat till it's gone. You might even want to stir it up so it disperses through the salad a little bit more generously. And then if you need more, you can add more. But a lot of times you might find that you have extra dressing left over. Okay, getting on to specific types of restaurants. When you're eating out and you're going to a certain genre of food, there are things you can do that will keep you on the healthy side of the menu without forfeiting flavor or taste or asking for any special changes to be made to that food. Let's start with an Italian eatery. So one of the things you can do with Italian eating is you can ask if they have a whole wheat pasta version. That's becoming more and more common in restaurants today. You also want to opt to stick with the sauces that are made of marinara, a light wine, or an olive oil base. Try to steer clear of the heavier sauces that are made of a cream base because those have a lot of fat and cholesterol in them. You also want to incorporate more veggies anytime you get a chance. So you can ask for additional roasted vegetables to be added to the pasta. You could look for options that maybe have a chicken and a broccoli or a pasta primavera that has a lot of vegetables mixed into it. Even a sauce that has a more chunky tomato base will have more tomatoes involved, and therefore you're getting more nutrients out of that. Having these vegetables into the pasta does an added bonus. It will fill you up faster. So you will not be eating as much solid carbohydrate at one sitting. You'll be getting full with an added mix of proteins and carbohydrates through vegetables. Those contain more fiber, so you're getting a more nutrient-dense meal than just a large bowl of pasta. Moving on to Chinese food, which is a favorite of everyone's. When you order, be very specific. Make sure that they understand that you're asking for steamed rice versus fried rice, or brown rice versus white rice. That's sometimes an option. And again, load up on the protein and the veggies as much as possible. Ask them if they have a low salt version of their food. Chinese food can be extremely high in sodium content, so you can ask for that. And as with all things, thicker sauces typically equate higher calories. So go for something that has a lighter sauce and be a little bit conservative with the amount of soy sauce or added sauces that you put on the food. Try a little bit, taste it, don't put a ton on it because you could overwhelm your palate with salt very quickly. Okay, moving on to Mexican fare. Beware of the add-ons. Mexican food can sometimes be extremely healthy. It's really when you start adding the sour cream, the cheese, the added sauces that carry a lot of content, the guacamole. While guacamole is incredibly healthy as it being an avocado base, a very little bit goes a long way. And that holds true with the sour cream and the cheese as well. You want to be extremely conservative. Ask for those things to be placed on the side and add them a little bit at a time and try to disperse them and spread them out. You want to try to avoid the words that say crispy on the menu. That typically always means fried. So try to go for things that don't have that in the description of the food. And try to opt for dishes that have a high content of beans, rice, tortilla, gazpacho, shredded beef, chicken, fish, salsa, picantes, mole sauce, and salsa verde are probably your healthiest options. So looking at our next cuisine, which would be an American type style restaurant, green salads with vegetables and a light dressing is a very common side. That would be much healthier for you than the French fries that are typically offered or the onion rings, things like that. If you're getting a side of that nature, try to split that with one or two people, so you can taste it, enjoy it, but not have a whole serving of it. You can ask again for a whole wheat bun if you're having something that includes a burger or a bread. Perhaps you can ask for a tortilla or a wrap instead of a heavy bread bun. You can always simply remove one part of the bun as well and have it as an open-faced sandwich. That's one way to do it. You can ask for things to be broiled or baked. You can always ask for if there could be a substitution of protein. If you would prefer to substitute fish or chicken in place of a red meat, you could definitely ask if that's an option, or see if they have a vegetarian version. Anytime that you can load on the veggies and the lean proteins, you're going to be doing a lot for your calorie intake. And the last thing with fast foods, more and more fast food franchises are updating their menus. They're trying to come out with healthier options and offering more choices to pick from. Again, just like we discussed with the Asian restaurant, steer clear of anything that says crispy. That definitely means it's been fried. You want to go with something that maybe offers a grilled or a broiled piece of protein, and load on the veggies. Try to be a little bit sparingly with the starchy sides. Keep the French fries and the breads to a minimum, and try to pick franchises that offer more salt-free versions or lower salt versions. With all of these options of eating out, other things that you can do are stick with water as your beverage. Try to steer clear of too many alcoholic or soda-based drinks, as those are very high in calories. Water also helps with digestion, and it helps giving you the sense of feeling full, and that way you won't eat as much in that sitting. You can always use the 20-minute rule as well when you're eating. When you think you're full, stop eating for 20 minutes. Pack it up in a box, set it to the side, enjoy the conversation or the company that you're with. If after 20 minutes you still feel a little bit hungry, have a few bites, and you'll probably find that that's all you really wanted was a few more bites, and you still have food to take home. If we continue to just eat and eat until the whole plate is empty, then we may find ourselves to be over full and giving us a feeling of sickness or digestive issues, which will ruin our whole experience that we probably went to this restaurant to enjoy a great healthy meal and enjoy the company that we went with. So these are the tips I have for you. I hope they help, and eat well when you go out the next time. Thanks and have a great day.